have all that initial setup, you're going to want to start moving your character, your sprite node. So there's a bunch of ways you can do it. Depending on how your game works, you may use the touches functions. So what I mean by that is if you go and just type the word touches, you'll see there are several different methods that uses the touches. These are your UI touch functions. So very similar to how in storyboard we would drag in like pan gestures or tap gestures. These are the functions for those. So you have a couple different ones. If you want to do like a pan gesture, you'd use the touches moved, and I'll show you that one first. You also have touches began, which comes with Sprite Kit. So that's like a tap gesture recognizer. I just have a couple examples to show you. So I made a function called touches moved. It takes a parameter called touches, which are all of your senders, your UI touches. So I have a loop or an array of touches, and so I'm checking for every time there's a touch. What do I want to do? I want to change the position of the face. So I've set the property for the face to be based on wherever I'm touching on an X value and keeping my Y the same constantly. So this would be like a game where you'd want to move from left to right. And again, I'm using touches moved, not touches began, because that's a tap. This is a movement. So if I run this now, you'll see what I mean. And I've taken off the physics on the face. If I wouldn't have done that, the face would have dropped right down to the ground. So right now he's just stuck in motion. If I click and move side to side, you can see I can drag that left to right. And it stops at my midpoint there. So that is the touches moved function, very useful. If I get rid of that, and I'm going to go to my face here and uncomment that physics body. Remember, we added that so that it has actual physics, and that piece will drop. I'm going to uncomment my touches moved, and I'll explain it to you then. Or I'm sorry, my touches began. So this is like a tap gesture. I'm looking at all of the different touches, so I'm going through the array of touches. Every time there's a touch, I'm changing the velocity to 0, but I'm also adding an impulse. That's what is going to be like a jump for your guy. So those numbers can change. There are so many physics body properties that we don't really have time to show you all of those, but you may want to inspect what all of these are. Affected by gravity, true or false, allows rotation, apply force. You can do all types of cool things. Density, and you may recognize some of these from some of our dynamic animator stuff that we did a long time ago with Breakout. But they're all there for you to make adjustments to the physics body characteristics. This apply impulse will happen every time there's a touch. So every time I tap, it's going to go 500 upwards. So we'll run that and show you what that looks like. And he's falling, boom. If I click, you'll notice he goes jumping up into the air. Now you can always change your gravity. So if you want more of a drop applied to him, there he goes, boom. Not as much of a jump anymore. I can multiple tap and he keeps going up and up. You could change that so that doesn't happen too. So those are, some of the major components that'll help you get your game working. After this step would be then the logic. But after you have the scrolling background and physics, now you want to start working on moving your character.